Welcome back, everybody, to the Resistance broadcast. I'm John. Thanks for joining us on this wonderful Monday. We are towards the end of July here. Summer is still piping hot. Star Wars news, not as much, but we always have a good time here. We're piping not. Right, James? Totally. Yeah, but we always have a good time here on TRB. That's what we like to do. As you just heard, James Baney. We also have Lacey Gilleran. How you doing, Lacey?
I know what you're gonna say. I changed my hair, and I did.
Looks nice that way.
Thank you so much. It's like 6 inches shorter.
Oh, just continuing the dialogue from The Last Jedi.
Oh, I thought you were being genuine.
No, it does look nice. It does look nice that way, though. It does. Lacey is back from the AC sessions.
Yes, I'm in the cool chillness of AC. You hear that,
you
guys?
You got a lot of compliments.
I appreciate that because I thought it looked like trash. So I appreciate people being like, I actually liked it. I'm like, you're being so nice. Thank you so much,
yeah.
But that's not the finished product.
The audio listeners are like, what? Mm-hmm. What? Mm-hmm. Where was she?
Well, they know. They heard us describe it, talk about it.
Yeah. But so let's, before we get into the news, because this isn't really anything to talk about too deep, because this issue is not coming out until October to close out this whole bounty hunter thing. Leia and Qi'ra on a cover of the Marvel Bounty Hunter comic book, which is going to close that series out in October. And if this is not a poster, I don't know what is. You have Leia on one side, Qi'ra on the other, and right dab in the middle, frozen in carbonite, the love of their life, Han Solo. And what I find interesting about this is when Qi'ra and Han were together, you know, Leia was probably 9. And now you see the two of them, and Qi'ra just little Age of Adeline or Benjamin Button, and it just doesn't, or Jack, it just doesn't age. Or Jack
Being
did
bad
age,
does good
actually.
for your skin, apparently.
Yes.
I mean, you can tell that from a drawing of a person.
Well, she looks pretty the same, yeah.
Yeah, these are all these years later, and this is, you know, Alden turned into Harrison Ford, and there's young as ever, no wrinkles, Emilia Clarke.
No stress when you're at the top of Crimson Dawn.
That's right, baby.
I think she looks older. I think she almost looks like Natalie Portman in that photo.
Interesting. All I know is I saw this and I immediately thought of the picture of Harrison Ford spitting out water, so that's what I tweeted. And I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Just like, they're together.
It's the one time Han would rather be in the carbonite.
Right, than out of it.
it's Carol and Jan at casino night in the office.
Oh my god, that's such a good episode. 2 queens on casino night.
I'm gonna drop a deuce on everybody. So yeah, what do you guys think about this? Do you think this is gonna have some sort of big what to do to end this series? Do you think it's more of a let's try to sell some comic books and then it's gonna be all for nothing?
Go ahead, James.
I mean, I definitely think that it is a meetup that we've wanted to see for a while now, and that will ultimately lead to the sale of comic books. How much of an impact is the confrontation going to have? I doubt much. I imagine they'll have a few words, and Leia will say something along the lines of like, well, I thank you for taking care of him, or something along those lines. And I mean, they might fight or something, but I imagine that's where it will end, and they'll go their separate ways.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a straight up cat fight.
Ooh.
I think that there's no way that Leia is going to go in being like, hey, what's up? She's going to be like, what the hell is wrong with you? Especially, we're going to get into it with the Resistance report of like where she is in the story of like, hey, who wants him? Guys, anyone? Like, I can't see Leia being like, yeah, like, just sell him off. That's totally okay.
Yeah.
But I think she'll try to, I can understand where you're coming from, James, where you're saying, like, they'll go their separate ways. I think they will, but I think words will be said from Leia, at least.
And you know what's also a little bit interesting about this? Obviously, you know, we're hoping that they turn it around, as Ron Howard thinks they might, and do some more solo live action stuff. I don't think that Kira saying, "Go, I'm right behind you," to like help Han just, you know, get out, is the last time they see each other. If this is how she's behaving about his corpse
I can imagine
in a block of carbonite.
We're gonna talk about that.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, you know, it makes a little too happen. But anyway. All right, so enough about this. It's time to talk about Fast and the Furious. James.
Oh, you
report.
took that segue away from James. James, come on. Give a good segue.
Let's do it.
It's the Resistance.
I don't have a good segue.
I thought you were going to say, speaking of Han.
Oh, no. I'm totally...
Come on. He's my second favorite Han.
Yeah. I am excited to talk about Han.
You know what's stronger than TRB?
Family.
It's pretty obvious. We just survived Fast 9. We all know about family.
John's been on the internet in the past week, apparently.
Yeah, I haven't watched that crappy movie. Are you kidding me?
I'm very excited for it, except for the fact that it got bad reviews. But I still haven't seen it. Well, let's talk a little bit about Han, but the actor who plays him, Sung Kang. He was doing an interview for Rotten Tomatoes and was asked specifically about being on Obi-Wan Kenobi and Star Wars in general. And he had a lot of really heartwarming things to say about the franchise and about being or having the opportunity to be a part of it, including, you know, he says, the feeling that I get on set is every single crew member. You look them in the eyes and you can see it's like a kid going, I grew up watching Star Wars. Like, this is my dream to be here, to see one of the Star Wars characters or Darth Vader characters or, you know, one of the Jedis walking around. This is something that we've heard from many people involved in the process, that Star Wars, being able to be a part of the process of making it, is a dream come true. And so hearing it again from him is no surprise, but it's always a delight to hear. I'm going to start with you, Lacey, on this one, just because you were so excited to talk about Han. What are your thoughts on his statements here?
Well, I love Han and I love Tokyo Drift. It's my favorite Fast and the Furious movie. So there's that. But on the Star Wars angle, per usual, I'm going to probably be really boring right now and just say what I always say, which is like, I love hearing people talk about how much they love Star Wars and how like thankful they are to be a part of the process and the production and the projects. I mean, we even heard this from Ewan McGregor, who was in multiple Star Wars movies, talking about how pumped he was to see stormtroopers on the set of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So it's really cool to see him talk about it, because when they announced him, I was pumped for him just because I love him in Fast and the Furious. But to know that he's such a big fan, where he talked about, you know, dressing up like these characters on Halloween and they mean so much to him. It's really heartwarming and wonderful, because it's more than just a job or a project for him. It's like he said, it's like a dream come true. And I know I feel that often being on a podcast about Star Wars is like, I get to talk about this twice a week. This is amazing. He gets to be in it. So he's a little bit above me, but still very cool. And I can't wait to see who he is. I was a little like, what does it mean that he said he saw Darth Vader? But I don't know if he said that like generically, like, oh, you see someone like Darth Vader. But it makes me think, I don't think he's going to be on the Empire side, but that's just me.
See, that's weird, Lacey, that you say that, because Darth Vader has been announced. So we know Darth Vader's coming back. So him saying, I'll read it again, or Darth Vader character, Darth Vader's character, is not the surprise.
I'm saying for him to be in the same area as Darth Vader, to me, says, okay, is this character with the Empire? Is this character, you know, going to run into Darth Vader at some point? That's the crazy, speculative Star Wars fan that I am. But I think, like you're saying, James, it might have just been like, hey, they were shooting something at the same time, that they could have been shooting his scene next, basically.
Well, what I'm getting out is that it seems like the fans have been speculating more on the next line, or, you know, one of the Jedis walking around. I
mean, yeah, that's a big phrase too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of a big statement too. So, yeah. That's awesome.
Well, I'll
I
toss
hope
to
it's
you,
Qui-Gon.
John. Yeah, I'll talk to you, John, on that one. What do you think he means by one of the Jedis walking around?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. I don't know. It was very casual speak, and it's an interview with Rotten Tomatoes, and it's hard to say if he's talking about in like specifics and specific characters. He could have seen Darth Vader's costume hung up somewhere, or on on one of the costume rooms. Who knows? But my biggest takeaway here is the fact that we are in this strange era where the kids who grew up on Star Wars, or the original Star Wars, are now the ones making it. And we've heard, Hal Hickel, his story of writing the letter to George Lucas. And now he is a big important part of what they're doing over there at ILM. And J.J. Abrams, getting into filmmaking because of George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, and he gets to make Star Wars movies. And, it's in every tier of this stuff are people who were inspired by what George Lucas created, which is absolutely crazy. And to think that, it can be looked at as a bad thing, because sometimes people say, well, they're doing fan service because they were fans of it and stuff. But you see more and more the correlations between how they perfect the costumes and everything. Like, the fans know. Like, look at the 501st guys who had better costumes than the stormtroopers they had set up to be stormtroopers. Like, the fans know. That's how passionate Star Wars fans are. That's why there is a Star Wars celebration. We don't mess around. You could say what you want about Star Wars fans in terms of like, they're always arguing about this and always arguing about that. Part of the reason why that happens is because we, one, love it so much, and two, we know it so well, sometimes better than our own families. And it's just, I love that aspect of it, and that they're embracing it. And he, he did use the word passion and its history and all that in there. So I think it's a part of it is, you're looking around and you're all that you're in Star Wars, but I think it's also taking ownership of that and realizing the responsibility of, I get to be in Star Wars. I don't want to be the one that messes this up. I want to make sure we get this right and do it right, so people aren't like, that's the Joel Schumacher version of Star Wars. No offense, Joel Schumacher.
Jedi nipples.
No nipples on the Darth Vader suit.
Every character in Star Wars is like the new Joker.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh,
the next Joker.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
so
total scrutiny.
So again, like at the top, like I said, there's not a lot of news to get into today. Like, if this was just a white hot news week, this may be one of those quick hits that we run through. But we get time, because there isn't a lot of news. We do get time to like relish in these statements that these people make. And he seems like a really good, charismatic guy, and I almost want to hear more about what he has to say. Maybe when he's allowed to say more details, and we find out what kind of character he's playing. But there isn't a lot to go off here, but I do like the fact of all those aspects of this thing, that there is this legacy that they have to live up to, and it makes me confident that they're going to deliver something special with this show. There hasn't been one aspect of this show that has made me nervous at all, whereas I don't know if I could say that about all the other ones that are upcoming. So I'm
a little surprised that both of you still kind of landed on the I am really happy to be in Star Wars aspect of the story, and not so much that Jedi's walking around thing. That statement, I think that's a throwaway. Really?
Yeah, I took it really casually, like, hey, you're just there, and he named like buzzwords for Star Wars fans.
But he pluralized Jedis, which
is a mistake anyway.
I know it's a mistake anyway. But my point here is that
you English major, shut up.
Oh boy.
He so casually throws out one of the Jedis walking around, which means there's Obi-Wan Kenobi and there will be another Jedi. And even if he's referring to maybe a Sith or an Inquisitor or something, that's cool confirmation. The other thing that it could be confirming is that he could be talking about Darth Vader, but since he specifically states Darth Vader beforehand, we're going to cancel him out. So to me, this is confirmation, and it's probably, we already knew this, but we are getting either an old Jedi that we've seen before, or a new Jedi that we've seen before, or we're getting a new Sith or old Sith that we've you know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like,
Moses Ingram has been practicing with a lightsaber, and she posted about it on social media. So,
or it's Liam Neeson. And
right.
that's the only other thing that I can think that there's a possibility that it could be Yoda or Liam Neeson or, you know, or
Sure.
Qui-Gon, I mean. But that has not been confirmed that there's any other Jedi in this. And this statement means that there will be other Jedi or other Sith or other Inquisitors or something along those lines.
Sure.
And I'm like, oh, that's cool. So regardless if it is as simple as Qui-Gon Jinn is going to be in this as well, and that's who he's referring to, that's happening. It's happening that there will be another Jedi in this, new, old, anything. I found that interesting. I thought, okay, cool. It's not just Obi-Wan going on a mission and he's the only Force-using character in this story. There will be another. Wink.
There's
I don't
another. I agree. It is something to look at. I took it. I'm so typical of Star Wars fans. We look at phrases like that and we point out words and we're like highlighting them. But at the same time, the kind of skeptical side of me as a Star Wars fan is like, oh, he probably just meant this casually. He wasn't letting things slip.
He was meaning casually, and to only some people would really hang on that.
Sure.
But I'm saying, I think when you talk casually, you're like, or like, you know, one of the classic X-Wings or something like that. And you're like,
Sure.
You're like, oh, classic X-Wings. That's interesting. That's an interesting statement. That says something, you know? And you try to analyze it and you're like, well, maybe he doesn't know the difference between the new X-Wings and the old X-Wings or something. But then the statement right before it kind of shows that he does, you know? Like, he could be talking about Darth Vader and Obi-Wan, but then because he says Darth Vader, that rules him out. I'm trying to just break it down a little bit. And I found it interesting that there's going to be another Force-using character in this show besides Vader and besides Obi-Wan, because he pluralized Jedis, one of the Jedis walking around. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, makes sense.
John, you are probably right at the end of the day. It's probably Liam Neeson. I mean, just if you have one scene where they're together.
Cut to Liam Neeson being like, what? I don't know what you're talking about.
And the crew was
I haven't been approached.
The crew was like, hey, you're going to want to be here on this day. We're going to shoot, you know, this scene. It's cool and it's important. And,
He's
you know,
talking
you're
about
there. And he's just talking about, you know, Liam Neeson and
one of the Jedis walking around, and it's Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi and Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah.
You know, the Jedi.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
He says it.
I can't wait.
He says it in a way, and this is jumping to conclusions, but he says it in a way like there's like 10 Jedi. And at any given moment, one of the Jedis could just be walking around.
Well,
he doesn't remember that. They're all dead.
Lest us not eliminate the option or the chance that we could be doing a little flashback city here and seeing some old stuff.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
True.
And again, that's part of it. Even if you consider moving, you know, back to the past, you're still going to see other Jedi. Like,
because I can't stop. And recently there was someone tweeted out, we have time because our news stories are
What are you saying? We have time. Go ahead. Say whatever you're going to say.
There's a photo going around of Hayden Christensen. People, you know, some Star Wars fans that just like, they get their rocks off to Star Wars for some reason, and, you know, teach their own, I guess. But of Hayden Christensen looking kind of like buffed up.
He is buff. And he was wearing a Hayden Christensen shirt, by the way.
But I don't... Has anyone confirmed that's a recent photo? That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. I can look it up.
Because sometimes that happens, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's from, like, 2008. He was doing Jumper. But anyway, it's... If he is that buff, because he's doing the Vader thing, what I can't wrap my head around is why they need him to be Darth Vader. They obviously didn't need him at all in Rogue One. He's not doing the voice of Darth Vader. So the only thing I could think of, which I was going to think about doing this as our conversation for Thursday, but is he going to be fighting Obi-Wan with his like mask off, and give us just this whole nother look at Vader to like try to like guilt Obi-Wan and weaken him in that way so he loses? Like he takes off, like they're face to face and Vader takes his helmet off and takes the mask off and just leaves the breathing thing on. Like that would be insane, right? That's the only way I could say that they need Hayden Christensen to be playing Darth Vader, unless they're doing flashbacks. But again, she said he's playing Darth Vader. We don't need flashbacks of him as Darth Vader. We saw that already in Revenge of the Sith. I think he's going to fight Obi-Wan Kenobi with he's going to take his helmet off, like the Predator. And he's going to have just the breathing thing. And it's going to be like this new look at this badass version of Darth Vader that we haven't seen yet. Kind of like we saw a little bit with Ahsoka with the shattered eye thing. Whew.
That's why I think it is likely to happen, because Twilight of the Apprentice happened. And everybody was shocked when the mask kind of came off, or it was broken, and in that moment you started to hear the Darth Vader voice, but also Matt Lanter's voice come out at the same time. So there's a possibility here, which you might be looking at, is a maskless Vader, where they're like blending some sort of voice where you can clearly hear Hayden Christensen speaking,
like Mark Hamill. Blending it with younger Mark Hamill. Yeah. They did that in trailers and stuff.
For the trailer. Yeah, the Force Awakens trailer, they did that.
They did what?
They blended Mark Hamill now with young Mark Hamill.
Yeah, his lines from Return of the Jedi.
Oh.
Yeah. Cool, right? It's also Kenobi. They blended Alec Guinness with Ewan McGregor.
Somewhere in some on some MacBook somewhere at Skywalker Sound or whatever, there are lines recorded from James Earl Jones for Darth Vader that Hayden Christensen's also going to say exactly in that same speed, and I think I agree. I think that's what they're going to do.
Question: why is it a MacBook?
I don't know. Who knows? Because I feel like all those guys always have MacBooks.
No, because you've been paying attention to Zack Snyder, and Zack Snyder's like cut and stuff was all on a MacBook, and there was all this press about it. Yeah. He's gonna roll up and he's gonna get out of his ship, and he's gonna. It's not gonna be he gets it hit and it gets like knocked off. He's gonna take that thing off.
What if he has like a half mask, like a breathing thing, but then?
That's what I said. Yeah. He's going to have the breathing apparatus on.
Got it. Okay.
And he's going to have the red Sith eyes.
That's going to be so scary.
And at one moment, like, Obi-Wan's going to have the upper hand, and like his little baby blues are going to pop in. And he's going to try to like lure him in.
Eyes. First of all, do you mean yellow eyes?
His yellow and red Sith eyes.
Oh yeah, I gotcha. And then, but I don't think he would have that until like one. Well, he would have it at one specific moment, probably. We're doing a lot of speculation right now.
But we have the time. So anyway. Yeah.
Well,
I'm calling a book it. That's happening.
Moving beyond that story, do you want to talk about more of the comics? Because we can go back. We probably should have just made this the first story. But we can talk a little bit about how War of the Bounty Hunters #2 has Jabba bidding for Han Solo.
Yo, it's getting bananas up in that comic.
Yeah, I'm not reading these because I'm currently reading the books and trying to get ahead of that stuff for book discussions, which, by the way, comes out tomorrow. But I am very excited to probably go through a full binge of the War of the Bounty Hunter stuff, because I feel it's important that we kind of have our head around a lot of the stuff that's happening here for Solo reasons, for just general Star Wars reasons, for Book of Boba Fett reasons, like all sorts of stuff.
That's why I'm following it. Yeah.
I follow on Star Wars News Net.
Yeah. I have some suggestions, by the way. This is live live to tape, but yeah, I have some suggestions of how we can make that a little bit better. So keep up with the stuff that's going on Star Wars Newsnet, because the comics are going to be great. John, what do you think of the Jabba bidding and all that stuff.
All I have to say is make Solo 2 happen, because this is the aftermath of what could be an amazing entanglement between all of these crime syndicates that we know are on a MacBook somewhere at John Kasdan's house. So no, the biggest takeaway here for me is just how cold Qi'ra has become. And I know it is years later, but the way she talks about Han, there's no chance in my mind that when she kind of saves his ass by saying, go, I'm right behind you, and then says, all of them were killed and whatever, that was the last time she saw Han, because I think she still liked Han then. And she kind of like looked off at the horizon and stuff as she was leaving, looked down on him, and probably felt a little bad. This is someone who has zero sentiment or feeling whatsoever for this person.
Can I read what he says? I have it up. Or she says.
Go
so
ahead.
She said, there's a name we all know, the one man who probably owes credits to every single person in this room. He cannot be trusted. He has no loyalty. He believes only in himself. And he causes endless problems for anyone he encounters. But somehow, despite half the galaxy wanting him dead, he survives. He slips through every net thrown around him.
So they're setting the table. There's something that clearly happened between the two of them when he's working for Jabba, she's working for Crimson Dawn, maybe even taking over Crimson Dawn. Who knows what happens there? They're setting that table up, and I can't think that they're doing that in a comic book. There's so many. Imagine, I'm getting ramped up here because I'm just so passionate about this. The tension, in the positive and negative tension between Emilia Clarke and Alden Ehrenreich was piping hot. It was so good on screen. Their chemistry was amazing. Mm-hmm. Now if we see them get entangled in a negative way where there's contention, that'll be off the charts in a way
lovers
that
to enemies instead of enemies to lovers.
That a lot of us were hoping we would get a better version out of, maybe with Rey and Kylo, that really didn't deliver for a lot of people because they didn't go too far one way or the other. They kind of towed the line. This can really be something special, and it's just, in my opinion, just more logical sense for them to make that series happen. Right. And especially a series, because you can say, this episode we're focusing on the Hutts and setting that up. This one we're doing Crimson Dawn. This one we're doing the Pikes. This one we're doing, even Boba Fett is involved here. And then the latter half of the season, you entangle everything and you send Han on these adventures for the Hutts where he winds up screwing over Qi'ra and she gets almost killed or something. Like, it's all there on a freaking platter more than ever. And that's all I have to say. Like, her saying that stuff to me made me happy, because it's like, this isn't just one of those things where it's a fluff like, oh, Han, he used to be a lover of mine. And I'd be like, oh, crap. That there's really nothing there.
She is a woman scorned here.
Something happened. Yeah, there's more to that story. They have crossed paths again, and we need to see it. And we need to see it between those actors, because the chemistry was best in Star Wars besides Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford. Boom. How you doing? I
kind of feel like, I do love Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher, but there are definitely moments between Alden and Amelia that I think are more romantic and over the top. James, why don't you go next?
I don't know how much more I have to add, because when I saw this, I put together that this takes place after Solo, and there's some missing stuff there, but I don't know. John's laying it out even for me, like, as we're talking, and I'm going, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm never convinced that that it was meant to be. Like, we knew we were doing a sequel, and then it didn't do good at the box office, so we canceled it. And I don't know that they're sitting there now going, oh, we got to make this happen. We got to figure out a way to make it happen either. I don't know. I would love to see it happen. I'm actually, even as he's saying it, I was sitting there thinking about how well would people vibe and hype and talk about a Solo show in comparison to, say, something that we just saw, which was Loki. would people be, would the average fan be more interested in seeing a young Han Solo than they would, say, Mandalorian? I don't know. I think Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I don't think it has to be one or the other, though. That's the thing.
No, it doesn't. I was imagining for a minute that that this happened. That was what he was pitching. We're doing this episode and it's about Jabba. We're doing this episode, it's about the Pikes, right? And I'm going through and I'm thinking on a weekly basis, the vibe, say on social media, and being excited for the next episode, and they release a new poster, you know, how they're doing with Bad Batch, and it's got Jabba on it, you know, and everybody's like pumped because that was Wednesday's episode, was the Jabba episode, and now they're promoting it. I don't know, just I'm thinking, how is that going to compare to Obi-Wan Kenobi? Will Obi-Wan Kenobi be more hype? I don't know. I feel like this Solo series is just such a home run, and I don't understand how so many fans don't see that. And I don't think it's just because I have watched the movie and we've talked about it over and over and over, because we have. But even from the very beginning, I've thought that the Han Solo Adventures has everything that people like about Star Wars, and I don't know why they don't want that. So anyway,
I think a big piece that's been missing from the sequel trilogy and from The Mandalorian and a bunch of other projects has been the romance aspect. I don't think they've done it very well, except with Qi'ra and Han. And I think that's a big thing that's missing. And if you look at streaming services, their top shows in the past few years have been romance shows. Romance or some type of element of romance within the show. Loki did great because there was a romance element. Bridgerton killed it on Netflix, and that was literally all romance. So yeah, obviously there's certain audiences that take to that stuff, but I think there is something to be said of, you know, like an Indiana Jones or something, that you have this sweeping adventure, but there is romance as part of it. And I think this story needs to be told. She is so angry in this comic, like unreal. I read it and I immediately was like, what did he do? What did Han do? Because you hear all these things that Han has done, or like, you know, in The Force Awakens when we meet him again, they're like, you know, there's no one else in the galaxy you can swindle. And everybody's mad at him, which you just kind of, as a Star Wars fan, blow off of, oh, Han's always pissing everyone off. But this is, like John said, this is Qi'ra. She let him go. She basically saved his life, let him go, told him he was innocent, idolized him in a way that was romantic, but also like, I adore you in a sense of not just romance, but like friend too, and as a person. So for her to go from that to then you're reading this comic book and literally the words bolded are dead, trusted, and name. Like, so like it's very specific that he's the one guy in the galaxy that she despises, and she's going to benefit off him just like the way that he probably benefited off of something that he did to her. Also, she's rocking this cape in this comic book, which makes me laugh because she was all about the capes in Solo, and here she is wearing one. And I love the tie-in with the characters from Dryden Voss's ship that are like her people, her little entourage. That's cool too. But yeah, the Han show is just like literally waiting. It's like it's like right in front of us, and you look at something like this and you're like, this. Imagine if this scene was live action and played on screen. Like, that's insane that you'd have all these characters in one room. You have Darth Vader showing up being like, Han is mine. And then Jabba's like, 1 million credits. Like, that's insane. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think about that stuff pretty often, Lacey, is like, how different would so many of the Star Wars stories that we get in the comics and the books and the animated series be if they were told in live action? Because I have it on record myself that I think Rebels is actually the best Star Wars story ever told, and it flies in the face of everybody who's, you know, grown up with the original trilogy, because that's fundamentally Star Wars. But I look at all the characters and the story and how big the picture is and everything, and I feel like when you say, John, that it's about the family and the small relationships and stuff, that stuff just is so big in Rebels. That's like the most important aspect of it. And comparatively, it's almost loosely about family in the original trilogy in an odd way.
Oh yeah,
comparatively to how Rebels plays out. But yeah, it is interesting to me, you know, looking at all these different stories and how they, at the core of it, happened. They really happened. You're just seeing it drawn and you're just seeing it written out. But these events are live action in the world. You know?
They happened.
They're happening. Yeah. And this particular issue ends with Darth Vader walking into the room and saying, no, sorry, here's how it's going to go. Captain Solo's mine. And I just...
You could see the credits roll, right? You can see it being like, oh my gosh, what? And then it goes to the credits,
picture that scene being the end of Empire Strikes Back or something, you know, back in 1980. Like Darth Vader walks in and then the credits roll and all this. It's so crazy. Like he's talking to Jabba and all these other characters that are in the room too, that are all like underworld characters.
Give me Jabba puppet. What are you waiting for?
We do have one other thing that we wanted to talk about, and that was that the Galactic Starcruiser poster was unveiled. And I don't know how, like, it's clearly official. I don't know how official you want to get with it. It's one advertisement that they've done that is like a poster for the movie or for a movie. But it was very cool and got everybody reminded that this is happening, excited again for it to come out at its now undisclosed date, just sometime in 2022. But again, invigorated for this Starcruiser, this hotel. Lacey, what were your thoughts on the poster?
The poster's cool. It looks kind of like the Galaxy's Edge one they did not too long ago that were like, here's all the things you can experience. Obviously, the big thing that sticks out to me is Chewbacca and Kylo Ren, because that means that they're probably a big part of this adventure. So that's super exciting. And I wonder if the lightsabers are the ones that we saw the video of, the retracting ones, like you had kind of thrown out there, James, that you thought it was a part of that experience.
I'm still hoping it's an attraction, yeah. Because it looks like a kid is holding the lightsaber. It doesn't look like an actor for a show. Right.
Other than that, like reading the description of like it's 2 days of fully immersive character experiences with storylines. You get to pick what side you're on. I kind of laughed to myself because I was like, first of all, imagine working this thing and you have to reset every 2 days and you have to redo this. The same things over and over. It's like Edge of Tomorrow where you're like, reset. But yeah, no, this is really cool. And I hope I get the chance to do it sometime because it's going to be nuts. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like.
That's a good point. You think it's every day, or do you think this only happens on weekends, like Thursday, Friday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
It seems like it's a 2-day thing, so they might do 2 days, reset, 2 days, reset, 2 days, reset. Like it reset every 2 days or something like that. I thought
it was 3 days. 3 days, 2 nights.
I don't remember. Doesn't matter. Regardless, it just resets after every few days and does the new adventure again.
Yeah, you're right. I hadn't put that together.
This isn't one of those like canon things, right?
I believe it is.
I think it is. I don't know though.
I mean, the story definitely takes place during the time era of Galaxy's Edge. Yeah.
Right.
Big mistake.
Why?
Because with that times it's past. Like it's just like that doesn't make any sense. I just don't get that. Like I don't need my theme parks and my Star Wars hotels to be canon. We are too much with the canon. It's just like, leave it to the movies, you know, the shows and all that stuff. But I don't need, like, I know I'm in a theme park. I know that thing is Coca-Cola. Like, we need to relax a little bit. Like, that's crazy. Now this hotel's canon. So my continental breakfast and my scrambled eggs are canon now.
You're not getting
What are we
scrambled
doing?
eggs. You're getting fried yip nip. Tip yip.
Waiter, I have a gluten allergy. Sorry, gluten's not canon, sir. Here's your meal. The poster's cool. I love
I
seeing
can't
Chewie.
agree less. Yeah.
I know.
You say, I know that's Coke. I'm like, I'm glad they made the Coke the way they did. I love the Arabesh. I love the new design, the bottle.
Sure.
It's all cool.
Yeah. The poster's cool. I think it looks cool. It actually is a little more, has a little bit more of an artistic flair to it than some of the actual movie posters that we have seen.
Yeah.
Especially some of the Marvel posters are just like really egregious with what they try to slap in there. But I dig this poster. I don't think it's one of those posters I'm going to frame and throw on my wall or anything like that. But it's cool that they went those lengths to do something like that for this hotel experience. And this is going to be a one-of-a-kind experience. I'm not completely slamming down the experience. I just don't need it to be like canonical. I want it to be fully immersive. That's not what I was saying. I want to be in there and do my thing, but I don't want it to be like one of those things where like, it's your experience takes place between this and this. It's like, dude, if I'm selling a kidney to go stay at your hotel, I got news for you. My story's taking place after episode 9, and there's nothing you could say about it.
Oh my God.
Eat it.
Cut to social media video that makes the rounds of John at the desk checking in, being like, no, I'm not taking place before The Last Jedi.
Rey Skywalker era. I don't care what you say.
Sir,
okay?
please, sir. James,
I'm
what are your
allergic to
thoughts?
melon. I'm allergic to melon. There better not be any cantaloupe on my tray.
Sir, there's no
Canon or
cantaloupe in
not.
Star Wars. You're like, there better not be.
I'm like,
Yeah. I'm rethinking ever trying to go to this hotel with John.
no, I'll still have fun. It's just don't canonize me. I don't need to be canonized.
I mean, I just think, I don't know how much they're going to put into forcing that to happen. I think things are going to happen, and that's just when they take place.
So if I go up to a waiter and say like, have you heard the legend of, oh, did you know that Palpatine came back and he died? They'd be like, oh, I didn't know that.
Well, that's already happening in Galaxy's Edge, where you can go and talk
What
to
a
people
mistake.
and ask them things like, do you speak Arabesh? And they're just going to be humans and be
But
like,
that makes
no, I know it a little bit.
Because our
but-
little kids now who have seen Rise of Skywalker, who are like, that's Rey Skywalker, that's their hero. They can't go up to Rey and say, you're Rey Skywalker, because it takes place before episode 9. That is so stupid. Change it.
But
Update it.
I don't know that it is to that.
Put the round dish on the Falcon, if you haven't already.
I don't think it's
Fix
to that
it.
level. I don't think an actor is going to correct a kid ever.
Oh, really?
Does like Gaston? Wait, Gaston dies in the movie. You telling me the park takes place before the movie happens?
That's not canon. That's what I'm saying. Beauty and the Beast, they don't care. He's doing push-up contests with waiters. He doesn't care.
But they're not gonna. The actors don't correct people and stuff, do they?
I think they do. I think
Lacey,
they do.
you would know
I think
better
they do
than
correct
probably
people.
either of us.
I don't know if they correct people, but they have certain lines that they just answer with. Or if like,
Just be like,
people
"I've never heard
have
that
gone
name
up
before."
to Rey asking him or her about Kylo Ren and oh, don't you love Kylo Ren and stuff, and she'll just give a generic answer, being like, oh, we're battling him right now with the Resistance. Like they don't get into, or like, I still see good in Ben Solo.
Yeah, but that's canonical.
What's the point of
Right.
having
That's
this
because
between
that's where she
episodes
is
8
right
and 9?
then.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think they correct them. I just think they have lines that they repeat back.
And it's not that I'm that impassioned about it. It just makes no sense. Why would you
Seems like you are.
Why would you trap a theme park in between 2 movies? That's the dumb thing.
Did you didn't watch the Star Tours
Episode 9?
video
Yes, I saw
on
episode 9.
Disney Plus that they behind the attraction
I
or whatever the
haven't
new
yet.
show
Don't
is?
spoil it.
No. Is Star Tours canon now too?
No, it's not. It's not. It's outside of Galaxy's Edge, but they talk about why it is the way that it is. Galaxy's Edge is the way that it is because of this reason. I don't want to spoil it for Lacey or anybody who wants to watch it.
Please don't. I want to watch it.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It's like I'm watching it and I felt very seen. I was like, I know, I get it.
We should do a video where we
do
review that, by the way.
Like if you just walk up to me, you know, before Galaxy's Edge existed or I'd ever heard of it, they say, what would Star Wars Land be like? They're probably going to do Tatooine and stuff. And that just makes so much sense. I like the way that they did it. They went about it.
I'm not saying don't make your theme park canon, but don't be like this. You're in this time frame now where it's between this 1 year between.
It sounds like you're saying don't make it canon.
In this movie. No, but make it canon, but be like it's a loose thing where you don't know what time frame it is. I mean,
that's what it is.
No, it's not. It takes place before the last movie they just made.
Yeah, it's after Last Jedi, before Rise of Skywalker.
I know that. I just don't know how specific John means by loose.
Just make it immersive and think. Don't be like, just so you know, I don't you're think only in this time frame.
I don't think any normal person
Get the hell out of here
goes to the park and is like, when is the time frame here?
I don't think any normal person goes to this park. I think we're all crazy.
You don't think a normal person goes to Star Wars? But
no, I do. I'm just. Okay. It's
just John's being crazy. Spicy today.
Yeah.
About cantaloupe and Disney hotels.
How do you like your buffet eggs, sir, at our Canon hotel?
The funny thing is, I don't know if he's going to change his mind when he goes, or if he's going to be. I don't know.
Sir, is 2% milk canon by any chance? Because I don't like whole milk.
I love that it's only the food that's really like, well, no.
Yeah. Every example he's had has had to do with like milk or gluten allergies or something.
I would like my sheets not tucked in, please. I want a no tuck.
John, you have no suspension of disbelief.
I think I have a lot of suspension of disbelief.
That's literally what it is. He has no suspension.
So much so that I can't believe that they're making the hotel canon.
Like,
I can't believe it's not butter. I can't believe a lot of things.
So you're there and you're buying something in the shop, and do you expect them to say $20 or do you expect them to say 20 credits?
I don't know.
And which one would make you mad?
I just think it's funny you think something in that shop's going to cost only $20.
Well, it's the toothpick or something.
I was going to say, that's the real joke.
Yeah.
I'm just having fun. I'm just having a good time. I don't really care. I'd love to go. I would love to go. It'd be a good time. Good time.
I just find that funny that most of the crazy fans would be mad at someone because they said $20 and they should have said 20 credits, and they're the crazy fan. John's mad because they're saying credits.
Well, yeah, it's like
you should just call it dollars because we're not crazy people here. I'm a human. You're a human. We're on Earth. Slow down your roll, Mr. Catsman.
Don't go to Harry Potter World then.
I know.
I've been to Harry Potter World. Yeah,
John.
But they found a way to excuse it though, because they're like, "Oh, you're a Muggle. You're on Earth." You know what I mean? Like they've excused it away. Right. Yeah.
John, Harry Potter World takes place before the last movie that came out.
I know. There's roller coasters in it
because when you're riding it, they're still young and in the school.
Yeah, but Harry
John,
Potter
it takes place. It takes place before the first movie and or after the first movie, before the last one. We're so on this. All right, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just dragging it out. Do you guys want to end a resistance report? John's like,
yeah.
Oh God, get out of here.
This resistance report takes place between episodes 8 and 9.
I know.
Punch and Chewy.
All right, well, that's it for resistance report. Lacey, let's talk a little bit about Patreon.
So, guys, it's time for the Patreon pod race. So there are lots of ways you can support us. You can like this video, comment, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on all the audio apps, whether it be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. Or you can follow us on Twitter at RBATSWNN or Instagram at The Resistance Broadcast. So if you want more than that, of your daily dose via the social channels, audio apps, etc., you can head over to patreon.com/resistance broadcast. Starting at $2 a month, you support the pod and everything that we're doing here, us creating content, doing what we love, which is talking about Star Wars. So this is the part of the show that we let our generals and spice runners be a part of the show, where we ask them a question and they give us an answer. Before we get to that, I want to thank our generals and spice runners. So first of all, thank you to CARMELO, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, John RISI, JETTA Rosewater, Paul Olsen, Jake Houchins, Oliver Lewis, Frank Grande, Haas, Joe Ritchie, Darth Hurricane, Timothy Hill, John Chorlton, Nick Kratz, Christian Morales, and Val Trichkov. Thank you guys so much. Those are our generals. And then we have our spice runners, who are David Probus, Neil Shaw, Double C Chris, Kendall GELNER, Ryan WAARA, Dave HORNAK, and Micah Harrison. Thank you guys so much as well.
Thank you. This
week we have Andrew Staley. What up, Andrew? General Andrew. And he has the question of, which John Williams Star Wars track delivers the biggest emotional impact? Ooh. Andrew, take it away.
Hey guys, thanks for the question. The Jedi steps from The Force Awakens, to me, is one of the more emotional scores by John Williams. The scene itself is suspenseful as we await what Rey finds at the end, and the music slowly builds to when Luke turns around, and the solo Jedi theme is just incredible. There were so many other selections, but this one really came to mind right away, and I went back and listened to it, and it's such a great piece. It was emotional because at the end of the movie, you know, you lost Han Solo, and they talked the whole movie about trying to find Luke, and now here finally, you know, the last 10 seconds of the movie, here's Luke. So just an incredible emotional piece. My second place piece was probably Reunion from the Rise of Skywalker. So thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it. May the Force be with you.
Nicely done, Andrew. It's always fun to see you on the show. John, what do you think? Because I think this is your answer.
Yeah, that's a perfect answer. That was actually the Jedi Steps is the first time I welled up a little bit watching a Star Wars movie in the theater. Just because Rey went through that whole long journey, and we're finally like maybe about to see Luke Skywalker, and that music is just so powerful and emotional. It's John Williams still bringing his fastball when he could be doing a greatest hits, you know, and I thank him for that. So I think that is a great pick without a doubt. And yeah, you said it right. Like, it's just the build and the swell, and then you get to Luke, and you nailed it, Andrew. You nailed it. And I like your other pick too. Honestly, that whole friendship theme from The Rise of Skywalker, another outstanding piece. So I think this was a perfect answer, a absolute home run of a pod race. You did it again, somehow, Staley. You did it again. Thanks for all your support, man. We got to talk about my experience at the NASCAR race. I had VIP passes. Amazing stuff. Can't wait to talk to you about that immersive experience. But more importantly, thanks so much, man. See you around.
James?
No, I agree. This is a good pick. I think that a lot of people would probably go with. It's interesting too. I've said this before, but The Force Awakens is the best soundtrack out of the sequel trilogy, and I feel that is because all of the songs, or a lot of the songs, were new to us, and then we just heard them again and redone a little bit in the 8th, and then even more so in the next one. There are new songs in those other ones, but the only time that we've really felt that Star Wars has given us the biggest impact is A New Hope, Phantom Menace, and The Force Awakens, because those themes carry through that trilogy. But Force Awakens was just so good, and this was the piece that everybody left the theater on. So, you know, besides the main theme that plays at the credits, but I think everybody kind of tunes out the music in a weird way. Then it's like, oh, credits, let's talk. You know, everybody's excited. But that's the last scene in the movie. So yeah, good pick.
Awesome job, Andrew. This is a great track. TFA is my fave, as you know. So I agree that this is definitely an emotional moment, and it's a perfect choice for something that, like, John Williams just killed it. Although, when does he not kill it? That's the truth. Now we're going to go back to John. John?
All right. Yeah. Thank you again, Andrew. Now it's time to just close things out. We have a few minutes. I know this wasn't our typical Monday show. We got a little long-winded and stuff during Resistance Report. But just close it out with some thoughts we have going on. First thing I got to ask Lacey is, now that you have central air, has that changed your podcasting experience?
Yeah, I mean, in the summer it gets hot in here if I don't have central air, so I'm not as hot as I normally am. But other than that, it's just changed my life. It's like not hot all the time, and it's quiet because I don't have the air conditioners running. I feel like my brain can think like too hard, like too much now, because it's like always that like I have to put white noise on when I sleep now because I'm like not used to how quiet it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. Well, I mean, three of us have shared a room. Did we use white noise? I don't remember.
I played The Force Awakens on headphones.
She's saying it's a new thing because of the missing sound.
Oh, I see what you're saying. But she did listen to soundtrack because James snores.
You both snore. It's not one, it's both. You both do.
What are you gonna do?
John worse after he's had a couple drinks.
I wanted to ask you guys, what is one piece of Star Wars canon material that you would have liked to see in live action that isn't animated? Because obviously I would think like Clone Wars or Rebels or something.
Well, I mean, just
not that you have to have read it, but even or the comic or whatever, just that you were interested in it.
Probably Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's pretty close to live action.
I was going to say, dang, she kind of cheating there, but
loophole.
But still.
I just gave a James Baney answer to James Baney's question.
Well, I always know that if you were to say, what story do you want to see, would you have rather seen in live action? It's always going to be the next closest thing to live action,
Sure. Book-wise, I don't really know. I haven't really gone into the High Republic yet. I just haven't had the time. I plan to. It just hasn't worked. I've heard amazing things about Rising Storm. Is that the most recent one?
Yes. Yeah.
People love that book.
Yeah. So maybe for you, Light of the Jedi, you would have liked to see as a movie release?
Yeah. I liked the story of that one. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Yeah, John, anything pop out to you?
I mean, not a cheat answer, but kind of talked about it a little bit last Thursday, where just some of those Vader comics stuff really, I think, could have been way more dynamic done in live action. Just the violent Vader stuff.
So I'm going to make you choose, but I assume you're going to choose Darth Vader run number 2, the one where it takes place after Revenge of the Sith.
Yes. Yeah. And not even so much the mystical stuff like the Lord Momin and that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. The more barbaric. Yeah, the more barbaric side of Vader. Not so much the reflective stuff or the manipulative Palpatine stuff. Just a ruthless element of Darth Vader in live action would be a just beautiful thing to see, like shot with settings and really seeing that raw power from the greatest villain in cinema history. You know what I'm saying?
I just thought of Step Brothers where they're sitting on the couch watching Shark Week and they're like, look at that raw power, just raw.
Do they say that?
Yeah.
Oh, it's also what Snoke says, right? Doesn't he say raw?
The shark's like jumping out of the water and they're both sitting there like after they'd gotten to the big fight and they have the ice pack on his head and Will Ferrell's like, look at the raw power.
Oh yeah. Wait, when is Shark Week?
It's right now.
Oh, so as this airs, it's right this week?
No, it's
done.
Yeah, done.
It was last week.
Right.
You missed it,
so
buddy.
I hope you enjoyed Shark Week, guys.
Did they do anything new?
I don't think so.
Wait, is it still like the Megalodon was?
To be fair, is it that people like YouTubers and stuff, are they preparing for Shark Week, or is it on air right now? Because I don't have cable, so I never know like when it is. I have to base it on YouTube.
It was on Discovery and stuff. I'm pretty sure.
No, I know, but do you have cable? Did you see it on?
Did I watch it? No, but I saw the commercials for it.
You saw a commercial. Okay, that's enough.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to know. Because I was confirming based on the fact that I'd seen videos on YouTube promoting Shark Week and stuff, but not the actual Shark Week, like people doing stuff for Shark Week. And I don't know if that means like it's now or when it comes upcoming. Like for instance, there was
It used to be huge Shark Week. It was like
a
the
Jackass thing where they
yes.
Where they just were talking about how it was being shot for Shark Week, but it was released. This footage was released, I guess, during Shark Week. But I don't know. Do you know what I'm talking about, John?
No.
There's a newcomer to the fourth movie, and he ramped into a thing with sharks, and one of the sharks like bit his hand, and he was afraid he was going to die because they were going to eat him. And
holy cow.
They go through the whole cast, and they were talking about how of all the things that have ever happened on Jackass, that was probably the craziest thing because it was legitimately that scary that they were going to watch their friend.
They used Steve-O as bait one time where he put a hook through his cheek and he like kicked the shark in the head.
Yeah, but again, I don't think this was, because I think he was getting attacked was the issue. Look, and he was bleeding out. And all
I love the
stuff.
Jackass movies, and I think this is the perfect time for another one to come out after all the crap everyone's had to deal with the past year. Like to see these guys like still doing their thing at their age. Like the
big thing I saw is that Bam's not in it, right?
Bam's, yeah,
Did you see his video?
Well.
I didn't throw the guy under a bus, but he has he released that video where he was, I don't know if he released it, but he was like live on TikTok or something, and he's trying to defend himself and throw shame at the other guys, and he's very clearly in the wrong.
Well, I want to know what people think in the comments and or on Twitter of which Star Wars characters do you think would be on a Jackass team?
Oh,
if it was a show with Jackass characters.
Yeah, I have to think about that. That's a good one.
Hondo.
All right. Yeah, that's a good note to leave on. They're all like
it's like R2 or Chopper or something, and he's got his little like shocking thing, and they're all like shocking themselves.
You can't pick a droid though, because droids can't really feel pain.
No, I'm saying that
he would do it to other people.
Shocking. Like they're like walking along, and then like Chopper comes out and shocks him, and you see like Bam like fall over.
That's pretty good. I like that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. All right. Well done. All right, so that takes us to the end. We want to thank everybody who was on board with us today for listening and watching. See, we turned out an entertaining episode with very little news on our Monday show here. Make sure you do subscribe to the show wherever you prefer to get the show, whether that is YouTube or your preferred audio app. I'm a Spotify person myself, but we are on all the major audio apps, so appreciate that. And spread the word. Tell a friend. Send a link to a friend. Say, check out TRB for a good time talking Star Wars. Also, like we said earlier, StarWarsNewsNet.com, not just for your reviews, but all of your Star Wars news every day. Every morning, hop over to Star Wars Newsnet. We really do a good job of giving you the best quality Star Wars news possible and a great experience. You can find me on Twitter at Johnny Hoey, writing and editing at StarWarsNewsNet.com, and my movie podcast, Just Like the Movies. Tomorrow, we will be releasing our episode on The Rock. So come check us out on that. James.
Lots of places. Twitter and Instagram at Meyer Trunks. Last Friday and on the channel now, Bad Batch Reaction Show. Good episode. And tomorrow we're doing book discussions. I'll be back with Kyle Larson, and we'll be talking about High Republic Out of the Shadows. Come and check that out.
Oh, Lord. Very good. Lacey.
People can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Lacey Gilleran, and I didn't mention this during our Patreon pod race, but we did just do a live reaction to Mando Chapter 3. So that's one of the cool things that we're doing on Patreon now. We're doing a whole schedule of monthly live watch-alongs with us, whether it be our Q&A, episodes of Mando, just cool stuff that you can hang out with us throughout the month, starting at $2. So I just want to throw that in there.
Absolutely. Yeah, those are a good time. All right, so we will be back on Thursday where we're going to look at 2022 and how it might quite possibly be the biggest year in Star Wars history. So if you're feeling like there's a little bit of lull going on right now, buckle up, baby, because 22 is going to get real, and we're going to talk all about it on Thursday right here on the Resistance broadcast. We'll see you around, kids.